Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching this FIM-moto.tv live stream, we welcome you to the second round of the European Quadcross Championship here in Swindon at Foxhill. My name's Bradley Hicks, and at the moment, let's just have a highlight as to what happened the previous time out 2 weeks ago in Cramelin. Walker has the red play at this round. Patrick Torini took victory in the first round. Could he back it up in the second race? Well, the answer was yes, he could. He took the checkered flag. He has the championship lead as we come into this weekend, with Harry Walker second and Mike van Grinsven in third.
The feeling was incredible. Today I take 1-1 and the pole position yesterday. It's a perfect weekend, I think.
Did you go to Foxhills before? The track we're at in 2 weeks' time. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I never tried Foxhill. It's my first time, but I try to be the best, and we'll see.
Torini has the full 50 points. Harry Walker on 44 with Mike van Grinsven with 40 points in third place. Manfred Zienicke and Carl Robin Rillo round out the top 5 as we come into this second round. In the southwest of the UK, we find ourselves here 4 miles outside of the town of Swindon for the second round of the 2025 campaign, round number 2 of 5. And what a setting it is here to host the second round. First time in the UK for 2 years, since Cusses Gorse in 2023. Harry Walker, he went well then. Can he go even better this time around? Only time will tell. Let's have a look then from a rider's eye view then, as we follow Brett Wilkinson and Joe Millard in the FIM Sidecar Cross World Championship around this 2-kilometre Foxhill circuit. There we can see it's very narrow there. Hard pack here as well in Foxhills as we have a look as an aerial view of the circuit. So just to remind ourselves, Patrick Torini went 1-1 in the 2 races 2 weeks ago in Cramelin. Harry Walker, Mike van Grinsven, 2-2 and 3-3 finishes respectively for the Brit and the Dutch riders. Zienicke, Rillo, Thompson inside the top 6, 2 points ahead of Yuri Kasper, Kasper Miskowski, Rasmus Sona and Carlis Niger. Julian Veldman not here this weekend, unfortunately, but Yuri Brel is the young Czech rider, 12th in the standings, and will undoubtedly, I'm sure, promote himself this weekend. Mikkel Kudal, Mark McLernon, Mike Verboven, Jordi Nicholas Gieler, Laurenas Mikalauskas, Christoph Karai, the Hungarian, not here this weekend, Tadeusz Rajstik, and number 13, Paul Meyer. That's your top 20 in the standings then, but from yesterday's qualifying race, number 159, my apologies, Randy Naveau, the Belgian rider, he took the victory over Patrick Torini in the closing stages, and we can see he's also the quickest rider with a 2-minute 16.987. Patrick Torini a 2:17.423, Zienicke a 2-minute 19.604, David Davies and a 2-minute 19.915. There we can see it on the right hand side, everybody inside the top 8, all underneath that 2-minute 20 bracket. But Harry Walker in 7th position, I spoke to him this morning, he has work to do. Yuri Brel, 12th in the championship, 11th in the qualifying race yesterday, ahead of Jordi Nicholas Gieler. Aaron Haslett and Ayrton Knowles, 13th and 14th gate picks for the local riders. Mike Verboven, Carl Robin Rillo, a difficult day yesterday for Carl. The 18-year-old Estonian, likewise Harry Walker, work to do. Laurenas Mikalauskas, Kyle Murphy, Sem End and Ollie Sansom. Murray Graham, Louis Holt, Etienne Sanier, 21st, 22nd and 23rd, with number 18, the 17-year-old of Reggie Binskin, rounding out the 24 competitors, all making the trip down to Wiltshire to compete in this second round of the European Championship. There we can see Manfred Zienicke and Mark McLernon. I think it's safe to say that they're relaxed going into this race. There's Randy Naveau with the matte black Arai crash helmet that we can see on his Yamaha. Patrick Torini to his left-hand side as we move across then. Patrick Torini is the championship leader at this stage after the first round 2 weeks ago in Cramelin. Manfred Zienicke, David Davies, Mike Van Grinsven, Mark McClernand is how they will line up on the gate. I had a quick word with Mark McClernand earlier on this morning as well, and he is ready for it. It's difficult to overtake, and we saw that in the qualifying race with himself and Mike Van Grinsven. He couldn't find a way through, especially at the top left section of your screen. It's a really is threading the eye of the needle through that section of the circuit. You're going from netting on the left-hand side straight over to the right-hand side of the circuit. As we take a look then, there is Yuri Brell on the far left-hand side of the screen. 741, Carl Robin Rillo. Well, he's got the AirPods in. I'm sure he's getting himself into the zone, as all these guys will be at the moment. But what a fantastic view we have here from the drone. Great stuff from the directors and camera operators all throughout the course of the weekend, and we are looking forward to this race. But there in the background we can see the Wiltshire landscape just opening itself up before us, and at the bottom of our screen there we can see these 24 European Quadcross competitors all ready, and they'll be heading to the gate very shortly. There is the 11 of Mike Van Grinsven, Mark McClernand to his left-hand side. There we can see the red and the blue FXR gear. The whistle being blown. Harry Walker is there with the Union Jack on that crash helmet. Lots of home support here for the number 1, the reigning champion, both British and European reigning champion of Harry Walker. There is the 22, just next to Carl Robin Rillo. That is Mike Verboven, the Dutch rider, as Randy Naveau leads his 23 strong opposition out onto the starting gate, ready to do battle for the first race of 2 here today. Just looking out of the window here, we can hear and see that the wind is picking up just a little bit here. There was a brief moment of rain earlier on this morning as we arrived at the track, but it was only 2 or 3 minutes or so, just a sprinkling, and thankfully that has not returned. There is Yuri Brell on the number 44, as everybody then makes their way onto the gate. Randy Naveau, Patrick Torini and Manfred Zienicke. It does seem that the hard right-hand side of the gate is the best option for all of these guys there. We can see they are essentially making their way out of the holding area and lining up as they were on the gate. So, number 11, Mike Van Grinsven. Then it's Mark McClernand. To his left-hand side is David Davies. So David Davies not opting for the hard right-hand side. He's gone a little bit more central. We can see just moving the rocks out of the way, ensuring that everything is in prime position for this start. Harry Walker, there he is. He was leading the qualifying race yesterday, but on the opening lap had one of the biggest moments we've seen in quite some time. Up one of the steep hills at the midpoint around this 2-kilometre lap. It went left, it went right, and over the crest of the hill, it went completely sideways, but he just about held on to it. Dropped down to 5th position, and then him and Mark McClernand had a little bit of a coming together, and that saw them both drop down a few more positions. But Harry Walker, I'm sure, will be having his elbows out and certainly asserting his dominance at the front of the pack. Well, we are ready, and we are waiting now as they line up on the second row. 24 riders, as we mentioned, with the number 18 of Reggie Binskin. His first time in the European Championship, and it's good to see talent, local talent of all ages as well. But Reggie Binskin could well be one of the youngest, if not the youngest, competitor on the field. There we can see Harry Walker. He's on the front row, just to the right-hand side of that central box. But we are ready now. The 15-second board will go up very shortly. There is Dave Edwards with the green flag. So all of these guys clutches in, click it in the first gear, head down, as they keep their eyes on the gate. 15-second board is up, then the countdown is on. We'll keep our eyes on that 5-second board. There we can see the flags in the background just fluttering around in the breeze. The wind's starting to pick up here for the opening round of opening race of round number 2. All eyes to the gate. Down they go, and it's all about this charge towards the first turn. Carl Robin Rillo on the second row there, and there's a little bit of jostling for position for the race lead there. Manfred Zienicke seems as though he's made a good start. There's Harry Walker, carves to the inside, and he is up into second place, looking to make a challenge already on the race lead. But Randy Naveau right there in contention as well. Everybody through safely on this opening lap, but Harry Walker from 7th gate pick, well, he's certainly a man on a mission. The reigning British champion, the reigning European champion with the number 1 plate, and he is there, second position, the all-white jersey and pants with the Union Jack on that crash helmet. And it's Patrick Torini who leads them round. That looks like Manfred Zienicke up next ahead of Mark McClellan, and I believe that was difficult to tell as they stream past our pictures here, but up towards the top end of the circuit. Here we get a real idea as to how steep the declines and ascents are. Look at the steepness there as they hit the top of the hill. This is where Harry Walker nearly lost it in yesterday's qualifying race, but no such dramas this time around. And it's I'm sure he'll be experiencing a little bit of deja vu from Cramelin, where he was playing chase to Patrick Torini. Randy Naveau through the picture then as we watch them drop down now. Manfred Zienicke right there in contention as well, using the berm, the high line. Can't quite see who that is from this distance there. It all blends into one, but that's a change of position. Change of position then, and I believe that could well have been Randy Naveau. So Randy Naveau up now ahead of Manfred Zienicke as they drop down again into this right-hand turn. Manfred Zienicke then on the black and the fluorescent yellow machine. He is in first, second, third, fourth, fifth place as Patrick Torini leads them round. And just look how narrow it is around this section of the circuit. No opportunity for any overtakes at this point. But Harry Walker, I'm sure he will be listening out for the crowd who'll be willing him on. The home support here is absolutely incredible. There we can hear the air horns in the background. We had flares yesterday. It really is a fantastic scene. Look at them blinding their way all around the circuit in support of Harry Walker, and of course David Davies, Mark McClellan, and Aaron Hassler, Ayrton Knowles, Murray Graham, Louis Holt, Reggie Binskin, Oliver Sansom. Great stuff for the local riders. But we're coming up now at the end of lap number 1, and this is where we'll get an idea as to who is where. So Torini leads the way as we can see. There is Harry Walker wrestling that Yamaha around the first half of this circuit. Mark McClellan, Randy Naveau, Manfred Zienicke up next in 5th position. Carlis Niger, David Davies, Christopher Taveran, Murray Graham makes up 12 from his gate pick of 20th. So Murray Graham, who unfortunately suffered a broken axle yesterday in the qualifying race, he is up inside the top 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 riders, all from the UK, inside the top 10. And this is exactly what the home supporters wanted to see. Here's Mark McClellan. He's got Randy Naveau all over the rear axle of his Yamaha. Yamahas really do seem to be the machinery of choice as Harry Walker is stalking now the current points leader of Patrick Torini. Both of these guys, the most recent winners of the European Championship. Patrick Torini 2 years ago, Harry Walker just last year. But Mark McClellan is right there and wants to be part of the fight. Randy Naveau, normally more accustomed to the sand over in France. Of course, a 5-time winner of the 12-hour race in the sand in France. Turning his hand now to the very hard-packed nature of this Foxhill circuit, but he's taken to it absolutely superbly, and he's right there in 4th position. But these races are where it matters. Points on offer, 25 for a win, 22 for second place, 20 points for third. We saw this all throughout the course of yesterday, the pre-qualifying practice and the qualifying race as well. There is absolutely nothing to separate the lap times of the top 7 throughout yesterday's events. There we can see the Latvian flag in support of number 69, Carlis Niger, who he had 9th gate pick. He's up into 6th place at the moment. There he is, just to the left-hand side of your picture, and he has David Davies for very close company. Through goes Torini. There is Walker right with him. 1.3 seconds was the gap. 20 minutes and 2 laps of racing left. And we are absolutely so excited to see how this one plays out. Torini, Walker, it's now 7/10 of a second. The gap is right there on your screen as they make their way up. There they are in the centre of your picture through that right-hander. Very single line. McLernan still holding on to third place ahead of the 159 of Randy Naveau. Frantic stuff here. Manfred Zienicke seems to be in a slowly developing lonely fifth place. But the good news for the number 89, the German rider of Manfred Zienicke, is that he has plenty of clear track behind him. There we can see that is your top 5 on the graphic at the bottom of your screen. But what a battle we have here. It's Carlos Niger, Christopher Tavera and David Davies. Carl Robin Rillo is inside the top 10. And there is Carl, third in your picture, but 9th on the circuit. He looks as though he's about to overcome the number 10 of David Davies. There is he, moves to the inside, tries to squeeze his machine up the inside as they go out of sight momentarily. Over the top we go once again. There is Carl Robin Rillo through the picture. I believe he's made that move stick. Murray Graham right in contention as well. Ahead of David Davies there. The number 10, difficult to see as they opt for the inside line. In fact, that seems to me the number 11. My apologies to everybody listening at home. Mike van Grinsven, it is, on the red machine. Number 11 moves past the 98 of Murray Graham. Watching them now into the valley we go. There is Murray Graham, and that looks, it could well be Marcus Thompson there. Yes, the 155 of Marcus Thompson is right there with him, ahead of the 526, the German of Jordi Nicholas Gieler. 2 German riders within this race, the first of which is in 5th place, Manfred Zienicke, the second of which is right there in your picture, 526, Jordi Nicholas Gieler. There's the race leaders at the top of the screen then. They will trip the timing line, and it's still Patrick Torini who leads the way ahead of Harry Walker, Mark McLernan. But Harry, you can't get much closer than what Harry is onto the rear axle of Patrick Torini as we watch them now through the first half of this circuit. It's an 8-wheeler at the front. Patrick Torini, he'll be able to hear the bellow of that Yamaha behind him. I think it's safe to say as well that Patrick Torini, he's not controlling the race as such where he has a gap and has enough in hand to just control the pace. He is going all out at the moment. A 2-minute 16.5 for Patrick Torini. Harry Walker, a 2-minute 16.3. These are some of the fastest laps we've seen all weekend long. Whoa, Patrick Torini, such style over the top of that big hill. Harry Walker, he's got a perfect view of Torini. He'll be watching where he's stronger than Patrick, where he may be losing a little bit of time to Patrick. But nonetheless, in front of the home crowd, a victory is definitely on the cards, no doubt about it, and Harry wants it more than ever. 25 minutes plus 2 laps is the duration of this race, but we have 16.5 minutes plus the 2 laps as we speak. Aaron Hassler in 14th position, the number 19 ahead of the number 44 of Jiri Brel. Ayrton Knowles, Sem End further down the order. Looks like Ayrton and Sem are having a good battle as we watch again the battle further down the order. So let's take stock of where we are outside of the top 5. Christopher Tavera ahead of David Davies, Carl Robin Rillo, Mike van Grinsven, Carlos Niger, Murray Graham, Marcus Thompson. That is the battle that we were watching just a minute ago. The aerial footage we are getting from this drone providing a perfect view of this 2-kilometre circuit draped over the Wiltshire countryside, and it's absolutely fantastic to be here in the UK for this second round of the championship. But Torini and Walker still frantically arguing over the race lead. The lap times this time around, both of our leaders setting their fastest laps of the race. Randy Naveau now ahead of Mark McLernan. So Mark McLernan, 4th position, number 919. Randy Naveau has 6.8 seconds of clear track in front of him. So this lap will be very telling as to the pace of 159 Randy Naveau. Watching them then in the centre of your screen, heading off to the top right of your screen. That's your race leaders. Randy Naveau, that is the gap that he will have. Watching them now, there is Randy, there is Mark McLernan, the Belgian and the Ulsterman over the top end of the circuit, as we mentioned, is very one line, very hard pack as well. Some big rocks within the terrain here, but what a fantastic venue. The organisers here doing a fantastic job to put this into the calendar and getting it all ready for this weekend. Of course, a bank holiday here in the UK as well, so it could well be that a lot of these guys will be staying over tonight before making the trip home back to Italy for Torini and Belgium for Randy Neveu. But Harry Walker, only about 45 minutes away from here, is his hometown. The young man from Berkshire, of course, a two-time British champion and looking to defend his #1 plate throughout the course of this season. 5 rounds, the next of which is in Gdansk in Poland in the middle of June, as we watch Manfred Zienicke through our picture tackling that left-hander. But it does seem to be quite one line at this stage for these quadcross competitors. There we can see in the top left of your picture just how steep this circuit is. It cannot be understated. And surprisingly, it looks flatter on the screen than what it is in person. Torini still leads ahead of Harry Walker. There we can see the Union Jacks flying in support of Harry Walker. Throwing it sideways, full of gas. McLernan was saying to me earlier on today that out of that left-hander, you give it full throttle, click up a gear, and just drive. Hit the triple into the bottom of the dip, and then again, that step up leading you into the left-hander. A quick jump before the right-hander brings you onto the start gate, the start line, sorry, through this left-hander, and again, another left-hander before this big step down, hitting the terrain halfway down the jump, and again, they are covering some distance from top to landing. Torini throwing it sideways mid-jump in anticipation of that left-hander. He's trying everything as Randy Neveu, a 2-minute 15.775. That is the fastest time we have seen all weekend. Randy Neveu is 1 second quicker than the two guys in front of him. So 6 seconds is the gap between him and Harry Walker. We have 12.5 minutes plus the 2 laps at the end. So that would be around about 7 laps. It could well be a 3-way scrap in the closing stages if Randy Neveu can keep up this pace. Again, over the top of that jump, that is the gap. Torini just opening up his margin ever so slightly on Harry Walker on this lap. He's finding little bits. It's a 100th here, it's a 100th hair, but it is all important as he looks to extend his advantage over the #1 of Harry Walker. Of course, as we saw at the top of the show, 1-1 finish 2 weeks ago in Kramelin for the opening round in the Czech Republic for for Patrick Torini. Harry Walker with the 1 plate, he went 2-2. And the number 11 of Mark van Grinsven, third in the standings as we come into this weekend. He went 3-3, but he is currently 9th place, is Mark van Grinsven on the number 11 Honda, having a battle with David Davies and Carl Robin Rillo. But there we can see at the bottom of the screen as well, Murray Graham, Carlos Niger, Marcus Thompson and Geordie Nicholas Gieler, all outside of the top 10, but doing battle. Torini still leads Walker, the Latvian flags waving in delight for Carlos Niger, the number 69, who is currently in 11th position ahead of Thompson and Gieler. But again, up that big step up into the left-hander, Torini and Walker. The pit boards go out, and that will say to Patrick Torini that the gap is now 1.1 seconds between him and arguably his main championship rival, Harry Walker. Randy Neveu, 6.3 seconds on this lap, so he in fact lost around about half a second or so, did Randy Neveu, but still a 2-minute 16.1 as Patrick Torini goes even quicker with a 2-minute 15.744. Torini has found something on that previous lap, and Harry Walker, well, the questions are being asked and Harry needs to answer them with 10 minutes to go and the 2 laps at the very end. It will be all important in the closing stages. 1.1 seconds is the gap at this stage. Randy Neveu, Mark McLernan, Manfred Zienicke. And Manfred Zienicke now on the shirt tails of Mark McLernan. There it is in your picture. 0.3 of a second was the gap last time around, and I think it's even closer than that. Almost riding pillion on the back seat is Manfred Zienicke on Mark McLernan. Of course, we saw them in the holding area just before they made their way onto the gate. Mark McLernan, Manfred Zienicke, good friends, they get on well, they share a space in the pit area. But on the track, once the goggles are on and the gate goes down, there are no friends, only rivals. Dropping down again, let's have a look. They take the same line. Yesterday we saw Mark McClernand try the high line to make his way through on Mark van Grinsven. Didn't work for him yesterday, but Manfred Zienicke has plenty of time left. 9.5 minutes and the 2 laps. There we can see on the left-hand side of the graphic as Manfred Zienicke opts for the high line. And this is where Randy Naveau made the move on Patrick Turini in the qualifying race yesterday. And of course, you can watch all of the races yesterday and all of the races from 2 weeks ago in Cramelin on the FIM-moto.tv live stream. So all of the qualifying races, point scoring races, every session live and available on the FIM-moto.tv live stream. But Manfred Zienicke trying his absolute best to try and find a way through on number 919, Mark McClernand, but no such luck at this stage. Again, full gas, up a gear, down the triple, and then up this big step up into the left-hander. That will lead you very nicely into the final corner. A slight jump then as they hit the berm into the right-hander, but it is Mark McClernand and Manfred Zienicke still holding on to 4th and 5th positions in that order. Randy Naveau, 5 seconds now, in fact 4.4 seconds away from Harry Walker, 5 seconds off of Patrick Turini. It's not done yet, as Randy Naveau, a 2-minute 15.3. Wow, 4 tenths quicker than anybody else. And on that previous lap, a second 1.3 seconds quicker than Patrick Turini. So Randy Naveau, before today, we didn't even get into the 2-minute 15s, but now Randy Naveau, with a 2-minute 15.3, is by far the quickest man on the circuit at this stage. There is Turini and Harry Walker. So Walker just dropped back for a lap or two, but he's right on the case once again of Turini. The 2 championship rivals arguing over that race lead. And look at the closing speed of Harry Walker. Is Harry Walker, has he got more speed than Turini, but isn't quite able to use it? As we mentioned, quite one line around this section of the circuit. We can see they're going from the left-hand side to the right-hand side as Harry Walker looks to the inside of Turini. They're side by side. He shows him the berm, and Harry Walker takes the race lead. Listen to the crowd in the background. They are absolutely delighted to see their home hero, number 1 Harry Walker, leading the way in front of his friends, family, supporters. Turini now, he's led the race from the start, but this will be the first time that he has had someone in front of him to chase. Over the tabletop once more. Listen to the air horns in the background as they can see Harry Walker leading ahead of Patrick Turini. Through the left-hander, Patrick Turini up the inside, no, nearly topples over Harry Walker. There we can see the sheer determination of Harry Walker to hold on to that race lead. He was not giving an inch. Patrick Turini tried his best to find his way through on the inside, but with that mistake, that could prove costly, as Randy Naveau now is right there with them. 1 second behind Patrick Turini, 6.5 minutes left plus the 2 laps. It is all to play for. Walker leads the way. Turini lost 3 seconds with that slight mistake, and that's how easy the tyres can turn within Quadcross. Walker now has a little bit of breathing room ahead of Patrick Turini, but Turini defending that race lead for such a long time over Harry Walker. 1 slight mistake, and now he's got to do it all again with Randy Naveau to hold on to that second position. What must be going through the mind of Harry Walker at the moment? He's leading the way at his home round in the European Championship. We're watching them look at the speed they carry as they go up towards the top end of the circuit, the highest point around this Foxhill circuit, just there to the left-hand side where Harry Walker is now. Turini and Naveau, the all blue for Patrick Turini, and the slightly darker blue and the white jersey of 159, Randy Naveau. Of course, such a talent in the sand, and it seems as though that he's able to translate that well into the hard-packed terrain here at Fox Hills. Great to see. A quick word for all of the other British riders then. Mark McClernand still in 4th position ahead of Daffyd Davies in 9th. Murray Graham in 10th position. Aaron Haslett, number 19, in 14th at this stage. Ayrton Knowles just dropping down to 18th behind Mike Verboven at this stage. And then we have Louis Holt, Reggie Binskin, and Oliver Sansom, unfortunately, out of the race in the very early stages. There's the battle for second position in your picture right now over the tabletop. It is Patrick Torini and Randy Naveau. Now, Randy, can he do what he did yesterday to Patrick Torini in the qualifying race? He moves to the outside as Harry Walker again down the descent. Through goes Torini and Randy Naveau. No chance for even myself to breathe, let alone these guys. But Patrick Torini, this could well be one of the hardest fought second places he has ever had in his career. Randy Naveau, a slight mistake as he gets the power down on his Yamaha. 1.1 seconds is the gap, and the pace has slowed down ever so slightly. A 2-minute 16.1 and a 2-minute 17 for Patrick Torini and Randy Naveau. But Harry Walker, a 2:16.1 on that previous lap, opens up his advantage to 3.1 seconds. And we're coming into the closing stages now. Harry Walker, he knows what he needs to do. He's won races before, he's won championships before, but there's nothing quite like the pressure of winning in front of your home crowd. Again, into this one-line section, Randy Naveau doing everything he can to try and find a way through on Torini. And nobody knows better than Torini just how costly a very small mistake can be. As Randy Naveau has the drive, has the momentum, looks to the inside around this right-hander. They go out of sight momentarily. Who will it be? The 159 or the 15 as they come back into our view. Randy Naveau moves up into second position ahead of Patrick Torini. So Torini now needs to find a way through once again on Randy Naveau. But Harry Walker, he will be looking to his right-hand side on the exit of this bold right-hand turn, and he will see that Patrick Torini is now down into third position, and he'll be rubbing his hands together in delight with that one. So Walker, can he do it? Less than 3 minutes to go now. Just bring it home, Harry, in front of the home crowd, and that will be first race and a win in the bag. It really says something when we're talking about the pace slowing up a little bit and they're still in the low minute 2:16s. These are the fastest times we have seen all weekend long. The quickest of which, Randy Naveau, was set on lap number 6 and we are on the 8th lap at the moment. So Randy Naveau and Patrick Torini, and the gap is opening up. I don't believe Patrick Torini has an answer here for Randy Naveau. But Harry Walker has a 3.1 second advantage, and he's still in the 2-minute 16s. Randy Naveau a 2:16.7, Torini a 2-minute 19.8 on that previous lap. So we'll have 3 laps to go. When they come around next time, there will be the 2-lap board. It could well be too little too late for Randy Naveau in his pursuit of Harry Walker, with a 4.5 second deficit to overcome in the next 3 laps. It's not impossible, but it is a very steep hill to climb. Great support from all of the supporters who have made the trip down to Wiltshire for the second round of this European Championship. As we mentioned earlier on, the next round will be in the middle of June and will be live on the FIM-moto.tv website. And that will be from Gdansk in Poland. But in the meantime, let's not worry about the future. Let's worry about the present as Mark McClernand holds on to that 4th position ahead of the German Manfred Zienecker. Again, out of sight momentarily before they burst back into our view. Over the top of that single, I believe. Manfred Zienecker right there with the white and the turquoise jersey, all a little bit into the deep stuff on the outside. Again, same lines around this right-hander, but last time we was watching this battle, it was number 89, Manfred Zienecker, who used the momentum and used the berm as they dropped down here to try and carry the momentum up the hill and overcome Mark McClernand. This time around, not quite. Up on the 2 wheels there for Manfred Zienecker. Frantic action all the way around this 2-kilometre circuit, but McClernand holding firm in 4th position. 4 British riders within the top 10. and Aaron Hassler inside the top 15. A great showing for the home heroes. The countdown has struck 0, so we will have the 2 lap to go board in just a moment's time when Harry Walker crosses the checkered flag area. Two laps to go. There it is. Confirmation on the left-hand side. And 4.3 seconds is still the gap between himself and Randy Naveau. Turini in the 2-minute 19s. Safe to say he is settling for 3rd position at the moment, but Mark McClellan, he's going to have to do everything he can, use all of his talent and skill to hold on to that 4th place ahead of number 89, Manfred Zienicke, as we watch Harry Walker decisive in his move on Patrick Turini, and even more decisive in his defence from Patrick Turini. Up the step up then. Dropping down now. Top gear, full throttle, carrying the momentum over the top of the highest point of the circuit once more. The Wiltshire countryside laid out before us in the background, but it's all about Harry Walker right there in your picture, shifting his weight from right to left. They really do not get a chance to rest around this Foxhill circuit, but what a circuit it is. These guys are loving it, the crowd are loving it, and we are loving it here as well. Christopher Taveruan, we've not mentioned him throughout the course of this race, but the former vice champion is right there in 6th position, 2.7 seconds behind the 89 of Manfred Zienicke. A good start in race number 2. Could well see him inside the top 5. Shifting the weight to the inside. The rear end of that Yamaha a little bit loose, but Harry has it all under control. Over the tabletop once more. Turini just did not seem to have an answer for Walker. Certainly tried to get his elbows out, did Patrick Turini, but it's not going to be easy. Harry Walker, not the easiest to overtake, especially in front of his home crowd here. But Randy Naveau now 5.1 seconds ahead of Patrick Turini. So with just 1 lap to go, when Harry Walker crosses the line, there it is, 2 kilometers to go. Harry Walker, this is your final lap to take race 1 victory in front of the home crowd. Keep it all on 4 wheels there, keep it rubber side down. Big jumps here in Fox Hills. These guys just take it all in their stride. Randy Naveau, 3.3 seconds now, and still on that penultimate lap, a 2-minute 15.4 for Randy Naveau. Very close to the fastest lap of the race for Randy. What a perfect display from Harry Walker. He really has turned his fortunes around from yesterday. If you didn't see the moment that Harry Walker had yesterday, wow. I believe it's out there on social media, on Harry's social media platforms. But it went loose at the front. The rear went right, then left, then right, and left again, over the top, and completely sideways. And that dropped him down to 5th position. It certainly wasn't the best of days for Harry Walker yesterday, but today could well be one of the best days of his career. Only time will tell as we watch him now. Almost a victory lap here, but he can't rest on his laurels because Randy Naveau will pick up any pieces if any were to fall his way. Number 1 on the number board, number 1 in the race, and number 1 in last year's championship. Walker round that long left-hander, flicking it right now on the plunge down into the valley once more. Nothing is going to stop Harry Walker taking victory in this race. Randy Naveau, such a good display there from the multiple-time French national champion. But listen to the crowd. Come on, let's bring him home. Harry Walker here at home in the UK takes a look over his left shoulder, and we'll see that he has plenty of distance in the closing stages of this final lap over Randy Naveau, who, if he had one more lap actually, could well have been right there. But the checkered flag is out. Number 1, Harry Walker takes victory in the opening race here at Fox Hills, ahead of 159 Randy Naveau. What a great scene that is to see Harry Walker in front of his home crowd, the sponsors, the supporters, friends, family, whoever it may be. The sacrifices that they must have made for Harry Walker throughout the course of his career, and they are thanked endlessly, of course, with the championships, with the home victory in this first race. Still got to back it up later on today, but Walker, sheer delight, I am sure, for everybody here at Foxhills. Randy Naveau, Patrick Torini, 16.5 seconds away in the end, but still 20 points in the pocket for Patrick Torini and the current points leader. Mark McClernand, Manfred Zienicke, Christopher Tveron, the 919, the number 89 and the 58. Look how close it was there between McClernand and Zienicke. Less than 0.3 of a second separated Mark from Manfred. Christopher Tveron, Mike van Grinsven, Carl Robin Rillo, 8th position from the second row of the gate. Next up, David Davies. Good to see David Davies there in 9th position on the number 10 machine, as Harry Walker makes his way over to the interview area. And Murray Graham inside the top 10. Good stuff there. So Harry Walker, Mark McClernand, David Davies, Murray Graham, 4 British riders inside the top 10. Absolutely great to see. Carlos Niger, Marcus Thompson and Geordie Nicholas Gieler all across the line. Close battles there between Graham, Niger, Thompson and Gieler, as Yuri Brell takes the checkered flag in 14th position and will be looking to move further up the order than his current 12th place in the European standings. Laurenas Mikalauskas, Aaron Haslett, number 19, local rider in 16th position, with the rest of the runners and the riders making their way round to complete the opening race here for round number 2 of the European Quadcross Championship. 2.5 seconds was the gap at the end of that race. Harry Walker a 2 minutes 17.6 on that final lap. Safe to say, towards the close of that final lap, could well have hit the cruise control button there. He knew he had it in the bag, just bring it home safe. Randy Naveau, try as he might, 2.5 seconds was the gap. But this bodes well for the race later on today. But in the meantime, let's go down to Barry and have a word with Harry Walker.
Harry, I don't know how you feel, but I'm almost lost for words, mate. That's got to go down as one of the best rides of your life, surely.
Hi, it's incredible, you know. I took my time, I bided my time. I seen where I was better, I seen where I was worse. I worked on where I was worse, and to get that pass was nice. And then I see Randy was creeping, but I put the work in at the beginning once I passed Torini, and I managed that gap really well, I thought. But no, to win it today after 7th gate pick this yesterday, no, I'm over the moon. I'm like you say, I'm a little bit lost for words. To have all my family, support, friends, the home crowd, it's actually incredible, and I can't thank everyone enough for coming out. The WSC guys and Brad for bringing the event here. It's amazing for us GB riders.
Well, once you got past Patrick, he had...
You want me to... Okay, no problem. Good stuff there for Harry Walker. As we mentioned, friends, family, supporters, sponsors, whoever else it may be, all coming down here to Wiltshire and supporting Harry Walker. And what a thank you they have got so far. 25 points for Harry Walker, Randy Naveau, Patrick Torini inside the top 3 ahead of Mark McClernand, Manfred Zienicke, Christopher Tveron inside the top 6. The former vice champion with 15 points now in this year's campaign. Van Grinsven, Rillo, David Davies and Murray Graham, a great showing for the UK riders. Carlos Niger, Marcus Thompson on his Yamaha in 12th position, picking up 9 points ahead of Geordie Nicholas Gieler, Yuri Brell, Laurenas Mikalauskas, Aaron Haslett, Mike Verboven, Ayrton Knowles on his Honda in 18th position ahead of 19th place Etienne Sanier and number 20 Kyle Murphy. But let's go back down to Barry.
Patrick, that was a hard race. You led it for half distance, but the pace was very fierce, very hot.
Yeah, it's hard race. I start very good. I stay in the front of middle of the race, and after I changed my line, but I'm so tired, and Harry passed me, Randy passed me. Yeah, it's hard race for me.
When Harry went past, you had one try on that left-hand side, nearly tipped it over. That was close.
Yeah, this is spectacular, but yeah, I tried to pass him again, but almost crashed, but it's race.
Listen, this is about a championship, and you're still there, so that's the important thing.
Yeah, I take my points, and we'll see in the second moto.
Patrick Farini then picking up the points. He seems to have adopted the philosophy of Harry Walker there. Consistency is key. He may have lost a little bit of ground within the championship after this third race of the season, but of course the next race, the following race is more important with the overall standings. But let's go back down and have a quick word with Randy Naveau.
Randy, fantastic race for you from fourth, right there in second place. Beaucoup de vitesse. Hein?
Ouais, j'avais une bonne vitesse, mais j'ai fait un mauvais départ et je suis parti vraiment dans le groupe. Et j'ai vraiment eu du mal à remonter. Il faut vraiment que je travaille mes départs pour pouvoir gagner des manches. Et voilà, je suis content de faire deux, rien n'est joué. Si je gagne la deuxième, je peux gagner le général, donc impeccable.
Et la manche deuxième peut-être gagner. Hein?
J'espère, j'espère ouais, gagner la deuxième.
Bon.
Merci.
Good stuff there from the 159 of Randy Naveau. He was second in that race behind Harry Walker. So close at the end, but not quite close enough. And the spoils go to Harry Walker in this opening race. But that will conclude the race number one of the European Quadcross Championship here in Foxhill. Join us later on this afternoon for the second and final race of this round. So my name's been Bradley Hicks. Thank you for joining us. I will see you later on this afternoon. Take care.